All right, what's up, Tyler? We've been trying to do this for the season. You've obviously been busy,
Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
but yeah, this seems like a good opportunity to catch up with you and
Yeah,
to hear how the season's been. So, just in general, I mean, obviously we've been following the season pretty closely. You guys have had a lot of success, and um, you got a lot of guys ranked right now. But what's your just general assessment of like how the season's been?
yeah. It's been pretty good. I mean, we've had some ups and downs here and there, but overall, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, the last 2 years for us has been more downs than ups. So this year's been a lot of fun, and seems like it's kind of came together all in the right year, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Is there one tournament in particular throughout the year that you've seen like the team kind of like click a little bit more than before, or has it been pretty steady throughout the season?
Yeah, Batavia a couple weeks ago, it seemed like the top our top end wrestled really well. We had seven in the finals, but the bottom end we had seven didn't place. So it was like I walked out of the tournament like, man, we wrestled really well. We had seven in the finals, six champs, but still frustrated. Like those seven other weights, we got to get figured out before, obviously before regionals, but especially before team sectionals, where it's really going to matter to have a full team. Um, and I think there's a couple weights where we're still figuring out who the guy's going to be. We got wrestle offs actually today, a couple wrestle offs, so um, we're still figuring out who's going to be where. But yeah, I think Batavia was a really good one. Sycamore was good. Those guys that haven't had great performances, like at Dvorak, maybe they wrestled pretty well at Sycamore. So, but yeah, Batavia was probably our best. Um, Dvorak, we did pretty well too, but yeah, probably Batavia.
Yeah. Well, how has the team dynamic been this year? You have a lot of young wrestlers in the lineup, obviously, that are having a lot of success. Obviously, one tr not transfer, but a relocation, right?
Yeah,
TJ
yeah.
Silva is a little older and experienced. Like, how has the team dynamic worked out this year?
Well, really well actually. I mean, TJ fit in perfect with our group. So, and he went to middle school with these guys. He's known them forever, so he fit in perfect with us, and he's been a good leader. Um, the three freshmen, they've known these guys forever too, so they fit in perfect. And a lot of those guys have been kind of waiting for the Brody and the twins to get up there. So um, the team dynamic has been, I don't want to say perfect, but close to perfect. I mean, there's great leaders with the upperclassmen, but the freshmen and TJ, they lead by example every day. So and then we got our one, our main captain is our senior Isaac Smith. So he does a great job getting them, mentally ready to go, ready to compete for everything. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, I got a chance to come in and watch practice again yesterday, and I had obviously come and watched it in the beginning of the year. Um, and it was you could tell that the team knows what they're expected to do, right? There isn't really that much confusion, if not any confusion, when it comes to warming up, getting into drills, and then getting ready to go and work out hard. So it seemed like you have a really good group that flows really well,
Yeah.
and no problems means you get a lot of progress done
Oh
at
yeah.
practice, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. We made some big jumps with some of the guys. I mean, obviously the big jumps really come in the summer, but some of those guys that don't wrestle all summer. They're not doing tournaments in the summer. You can see them make jumps throughout the year. And like you said, if there's a smooth practice, you can get a lot done. So we're able to get better every week. So that helps.
Yeah. Well, I also recently just did a little preview. So I went through all the dual meets and the brackets, and I kind of put together what it looks like it would probably end up shaking out as far as like the lineups. Obviously, certain teams, the lineups are constantly changing. I definitely, obviously, I spoke briefly, and you might be able to speak more to this, whether or not TJ was wrestling 32 or 38, knowing that you have Darling in around there
Yeah.
too. And then obviously I was like a few other teams, their their lineups fluctuate. So, is there any like, I mean, if you want to divulge anything, is there any like fluctuations or changes that you're going to move around guys just to get more matches this weekend?
Yeah, everything will be the same for us, except I think we'll have TJ at 38. I think Robbie still getting adjusted at 38. He's naturally a 32 pounder, but they both are. So yeah, I think we'll probably have Robbie at 32, TJ at 38 this weekend, and then normal lineup the rest of the way through. 190, we've had 5 guys wrestle this year, so we got to do wrestle offs today, and we'll figure out who we're gonna have there for that. But heavyweight, we'll have our freshman Luke. Um, so every other weight will be kind of what we ran for the rest of the this season. So
I got you. And just thinking about the conference tournaments this Saturday,
yeah,
uh, I looked back. It was 2019, the last time Hononegah was the Nick 10 conference champions. Um, Now, obviously, I don't know if it's even pressure, obviously, outside of some very unfortunate circumstances that could come up. Um, does it change anything that you're going in with a clear favorite as opposed to um, maybe a couple teams looking to upset, you know?
right. No, it doesn't really change anything for us. I think we're just gonna been trying to get them in the mindset of it doesn't matter who we're wrestling, you need to be locked in, ready to go. Yeah, obviously all these teams they've got a couple individuals that can push us at a couple weights, so we got to be ready to go. And then every week it's going to keep getting tougher. So we just got to be locked in this week, ready to go. And then next week, obviously same thing with regionals, and then it just keeps getting tougher every week. And I don't know. I think if they're not locked in right now and uh, they're a little bit unfocused, that's how you get upset in a tournament like this. When you think, oh, I can just walk through my bracket and I'll be fine. And then, Harlem's got some scrappy guys. Obviously, East has some guys. Belvedere's got some scrappy guys. So if you're not ready to go, those guys take you out. You just got to be ready to go. I think that mentally they're not thinking like, oh, we're such a big favorite. We can just show up and they're going to hand us our trophy. I think they're prepared for a scrap. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's great. Going into, I mean, obviously, I wonder if we're going to get a couple matchups potentially. I know the Cannon wrestled, I believe he wrestled 32 or 38 at Sycamore. I don't know. He's been bouncing around too, so maybe
Yeah.
he and TJ will be a fun match. I was looking forward to that match and the duel. So if we get it, that'll be another a reason to come out to watch because that will be
Yeah.
two, top kids in the state wrestling if they do.
Right. Yeah. He's a state placer a couple years ago. Tough kid. I know TJ's talked about wrestling a little bit. So yeah, that'll be a fun one if we get that one for sure.
Yeah. And where are your regionals at this year?
We're at Huntley.
And who's in that? Is that the same regional as previous? So it's Belvedere, Algonquin, and
Yeah.
Huntley. Is that the only different one? Or?
You got Dundee Crown as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you seen any of those teams?
Yeah. We've seen Huntley at Dvorak, and it's a big tournament, so you don't really get a ton of head-to-head matchups with those guys. But we saw Jacobs at Batavia, and we saw Dundee Crown at Mid States at Whitewater. So yeah, we kind of seen them all. We haven't had very many head-to-head matchups with them, but we've seen them wrestle, so we're pretty familiar with them.
Yeah. And have you found yourself doing anything in particular to like help some of these kids on the team that maybe aren't the maybe not Brody or the Cassiopes, but some of the you know other individuals on the lineup to start thinking about how um, the state series kind of like even if you lose, even if you don't get what you want, there's still going to be 3 weeks. I think
Yeah,
two weeks after that.
right. Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday, like right after you left. I think talking about the season's not done when your individual season's done. So obviously we're gonna have a few guys that might not make it to sectionals. Obviously, we'll have some guys not make it to state. So just trying to keep them, mentally in the game, ready to come back. And, as soon as they're done with their individual season, you got to come back and practice pretty much the next day or the next Monday. And you're still trying to get better. I know it's like some of them it might be hard to refocus after that, cuz like, man, my season's done. I'm just watching these guys now, but they don't realize how important it's going to be that Tuesday after individual state to be ready to go. So we're trying to get them in that mindset of, we're not telling them, hey, you're not going to make it to state, but as coaches, we know there's going to be a few guys not make it, and we got to have those guys stay locked in for another week or two or whatever it is to be ready to go for that Tuesday. And then obviously we win that duel. It's another 3 days of practice and then team state. So, but we've talked about it enough, and the leaders are talking about it enough that I think that they're prepared when their individual season is done. We're not done. We still got work to do. So yeah, we've talked about it enough. I think they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah. And it sounds like that the team, the individuals on the team have that as a goal. Like that's, obviously TJ, Brody, the Cassiopes, they all want to accomplish individual success, but it seems like that's also in their focus then the goal as going down to the team state and placing.
For sure. I think we've been talking about it since August when, maybe even before that, but uh, yeah, I mean, it started to become a reality in August that we could really get down there, looking at the team, our lineup, what we'd have, and um, yeah, I remember when I was in high school, we took fourth at state one year, and I was explaining that to our team, like we really never talked about it throughout the year. We it just kind of happened, and we for us to get down there when we placed, we had to beat Prospect, who was pretty tough, but we handled them, and then we had to beat Libertyville to win a trophy. I'm like, we're in a completely different situation this year with the random draw that we got. We're gonna have to beat the returning state champs to get a trophy. So it's I think it's just you gotta take it one match at a time, and even to get down there this year, we're gonna have to beat Hersey or Barrington, which is super tough duel. So one week at a time, one match at a time, and that obviously the whole team, yeah, that's their goal is let's get a state trophy this year. And when we saw the random draw, it was a little frustrating, but at the same time, it's like you're gonna have to beat one of those teams to get a trophy. So if it's St. Charles East, then we got to beat St. Charles East. It is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know the matchups, but I think that obviously at that level, it's going to be always on the in between matches, anyways. Really, it seems like
Yeah,
guys who beat people that they're not supposed to, that
yeah,
weren't expected to win.
right.
Those are when those duels are won and lost. Um, yeah, so it's pretty cool to watch this season. It's been good to watch a team from the area do so well and compete so hard
Yeah.
at some of these big tournaments. Um, what are you looking forward to in the next couple of years as far as just the maturing of the team
Yeah.
and the future success?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a handful of juniors right now that are, um, a couple of them top six, top seven in the state. Obviously, TJ's number two right now. Um, but we've got about four more of them that are still pretty inexperienced. They're on their maybe second year of wrestling or maybe their third, but um, they don't have a ton of experience. So we're trying to get them those matches that are competitive, and they can, obviously when they go to Dvorak, it's tough. They might get two matches where they just get waxed, both of them. But we have good tournaments on our schedule where it's like Sycamore and Whitewater where they were able to compete, and just slowly getting those guys better. And then obviously Connor Demo, Kurt Smith, TJ, they're going to just be even better next year as seniors. Our freshmen are going to even be better as sophomores next year. So just trying to keep developing some of those lower level guys, and then the higher end guys, just keep getting them. It's just details at that point. Just got to keep tweaking the details, and hopefully get some of these guys to world team trials in Fargo and stuff this summer, and see where they're at there. But yeah, the lower level guys, I think that's how we're gonna make our jump. I mean, looking at Joliet Catholic, Mount Carmel, uh, where they're bad, they're not very bad. Like they're still pretty good. And that's kind of where our difference is right now is like where we're bad, we're not, we're getting pinned right now. And that's something we're trying to change going into that team state run is we cannot get pinned. And so that's I told some of them like we go into this duel against Hersey or St. Charles East, your job might not be to win the match. It might just be to not get pinned. And we might celebrate you just not getting pinned. And that might win us the duel. So I think some of them it's like win or bust. Some of them are just they're trying to hit home runs, thinking I have to win this match, and they end up getting pinned. I'm like, dude, just wrestle smart. Your team may need you at some point just to not get pinned. So um, yeah, I think that's where a lot of our focus has been is the lower level of our varsity, trying to just build them up, um, just more solid. I think they're not defensively, they're just not as solid as we want them to be right now. They're getting scored on way too much, and then like I say, getting pinned. Like we got to correct that. But um, I'm excited to see the growth in the summer. I mean, that's like I said earlier, that's where we made our jumps is the summer. Um, so see those the lower end guys rest get better this summer, and then see where we're at next year. I mean, we talked about it already. This season, like our goal for next year will be state champs, team state champs. And, um, like I said, just we're, if we're not going to win, we can't get pinned. Like watching Joliet wrestle Mount Carmel the other day, it was like every match was competitive. They didn't have one guy go out and it's like, oh, we steamrolled them and pinned that kid, no problem. Every match was competitive. And I showed our guys that duel, or I talked about that duel, and I said, if we want to be here, we want to beat these guys. That's where we need to be. We've got the studs. We've got a couple studs, but we need the lower end to start, coming up a little bit more and at least, like I said, not getting fed.
Well, I did see, I could be wrong, but I think it's your 20 or 26 pounder, one of the two. He's like a young guy, I think. And I saw him telling TJ, I want you during this live go. And I was like, all right,
Yeah,
that's pretty good
yeah,
that somebody at least isn't afraid. Uh, you know, that's where, again, thinking about Hononegah traditionally, those are the types of kids that um helped the teams always do so well is like kids that
yeah.
they weren't maybe gonna win state or place high in state, but they were
Right,
going to like beat a lot of people that they weren't supposed to just through tenacity
right.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it was good to see that from that kid because again, I still don't know his name, but I do know who he is now because of what he did in a
yeah.
practice. So
It might have
um,
been Evan Muscle at 126.
I think he won JV conference, I think.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, that's Evan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I told him, guys, like, you've got all these partners, grab them. When we're going
Yeah.
live, grab them. Yeah. So that's kind of how our 32 pounder has gotten. Oh, Robbie, 38, 32. He's made some jumps. Just grab TJ, grab the twins, grab Brody, when we're going live and see what happens. Just give it, do your best. And that's how you're going to get better. So,
Yeah. And he's a returning conference champ.
Robbie,
Um, just in a, you know, just found himself in that
yeah,
situation where he's got a partner or a teammate that's um at the same similar weight. But
yep,
that's why it's going to be interesting to see this weekend because he's obviously had success and even if Cannon wrestles him, he's still going to have to be ready to. Cannon still have to be ready because this
yeah.
kid can find a way to win
Yeah, they wrestled at
match.
Sycamore in the Sycamore finals, and Cannon ended up pinning him towards the end of the third period. But I think we got one or two takedowns on him, so something to build off of. And he said right after that match, I want to get that kid again. I want to wrestle him again. I'm like, all right, well, conference will probably put you at 32, so you can get it again. So
Yeah. Well, that's great. So, just knowing that conference is at Hononegah this weekend, are you just happy that just the opportunity is going to be at your home And how much do you think fan support are you gonna get this weekend?
Well, hopefully quite a bit. I mean, Andrew's putting some work into to running a great tournament, so I know it's going to run smooth. It's going to be a great tournament. So hopefully we get some fans out. And um, our duel against East was kind of our only big duel at home, and we didn't have a ton of people there, but it was a pretty decent turnout. So um, yeah, it's exciting to be at home. I think last time we hosted it, I was a sophomore, so it's been a while. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. Do it on our home gym, and hopefully we do what we're supposed to do. We get that trophy back in our room, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I look forward to it. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for people to see what the conference has to offer, and
Yeah,
there's going to be more than just the Hononegah kids that are going to be able to get into the postseason stuff.
yeah,
But
for sure.
it's definitely going to be a good opportunity for local people to see how tough that team is,
Yeah,
because they are pretty good. They deserve some eyeballs on it.
yeah,
So
yeah. And thank
yeah,
you for getting those eyeballs on us. You've done a great job this year. With the came to our room twice, and you've covered like every tournament we've done and almost every duel we've done. So it's been awesome.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that there's somebody to cover, right? You guys are
Yeah,
doing well, and the guys are
yeah,
competing hard, and they're again they're making a name for the conference
right.
or in the Northern Illinois area for them, for everyone, right? They're going to the big national tournaments and placing at the toughest high school tournament in the
Yeah,
country. They're beating really good kids when they need to,
right.
and because of that improves um, the area's wrestling little by little
Oh
because it
yeah,
raises the standard.
yeah.
And just going into that, we'll finish up with that. But just like thinking about as a program, Hononegah has always had the capacity to do this, but how beneficial it is to have um, kids at the high school level competing at not just the local, not just the state level, but the national level. Like
Right.
you got about I know you got three, but I mean there's a couple kids that could find their way into the to that national scene as well. But
Yep.
how important is that for the middle school the group coming in?
Yeah, I think since I've been with the twins and Brody since they were in fifth grade, and we've talked about it since then, how important the national scene is. And I'm like, because I asked them when I started coaching, I'm like, what do you guys want to do? I know you're only in fifth grade, but what is your ideas? Like, how far do you want to take this? And obviously, the twins, they had Tony was at Iowa at that time, and he still is there. And they're like, well, I want to wrestle D1. I got to be better than Tony. And so that's kind of even Brody as well. That's the bar. It's like let's get to Division 1. Let's get to um, you know the point where we can choose between going to Penn State, Iowa, or Ohio State, whatever it is. But to to do that, we got to get on the national scene, starting with when you're in middle school, go to the Tulsas, go to stuff like that. And then once we jumped into high school, last year was our first Fargo, and Brody wasn't able to wrestle, but the twins had a great Fargo. And we also brought like 3 or 4 more guys that they didn't make a deep run into the tournament, but just doing the qualification process, going to the camp, and then going to the tournament itself, I saw huge improvements. Jackson Olson, Isaac Smith, Max Haskins didn't qualify, but he went through. He did freestyle state. He did the second chance qualifier, and he went to a bunch of camps with those guys over the summer to prepare for Fargo, and just huge jumps. I think they go to Fargo and they can see the different level of competition. They can see like, wow, this is the first round. This is the round of 256, and these guys are getting after it. So it was just I think an eye opener, like to see how tough wrestling can be at the national level. And then we had a couple guys go to the twins went to Super 32, and I had all the guys watch that tournament. I'm like, listen, like watch the tournament. I know you guys aren't there, but you got to watch it to see how tough it is. And I think just being at some of those tournaments or some of these guys watching those tournaments, they're like, man, this makes this makes the Dvorak look like JV conference. And it's like it shows them a whole different level of wrestling. And I think for some of them it motivates them to get to that level, and then some of them right away they're like, it's almost like they're looking up the mountain and they can't see the peak, and they're like, man, how far am I gonna how long am I gonna do this before I get to that? And then some of them, they quit or they want to quit. I'm like, dude, you just got to keep pushing past that. You're gonna get there. And some of them kind of hit a wall for a minute in the last 2 years, um, but they got past it. So I think that with the national tournaments, that yeah, they've been great for like an eye opener. And then obviously we were able to go to the Ironman this year, get 3 guys there, and all their teammates watch that and they're like, man, that's a tough tournament. That's where we want to be next year. So yeah, those national tournaments are huge, and hopefully we can keep adding them to our schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. As far as the national tournaments, it does the Ironman offer full roster? Like, do they give teams full teams anymore, or do they only give space?
Yeah, it seemed like looking at the team scores when I was there, like the top,
Because St. Charles didn't they don't get to take their full team.
I think they took 13 this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mount Carmel took, I think they took their full lineup.
Oh, okay.
I think only the top 20, they only let about maybe 15 or 20 bring their full lineup, and some of them it's only like 10 or 11. But um, yeah, for us, they were like they invited the twins, and then I gave them a couple more names, like, hey, here's some competitive guys I could bring, and they only let me bring TJ, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's you just got to put their names in, and then they kind of make the decision on who's going to come and
Yeah.
who's not. So
Well, some of those guys will be, earning their way into it.
right,
Just like I said, like we said from the national scene,
right,
they'll earn their way in. Yeah, I was just curious whether or not they just blanket let teams in anymore, or if it's
yeah,
just individual wise, or at least like
yeah.
weight class wise.
Yeah, I think like if you're ranked in the top 15 or 20 as a team in the country, they'll let you bring your whole team. But
Yeah,
other than that, yeah, they're picking and choosing guys.
yeah. Well, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on
Yeah, thanks
and
for having me.
chatting.
Yeah,
And yeah, everybody can come out on Saturday
yeah,
and check out the conference
yeah.
tournament and watch you guys kick off the postseason. This would be a good because where is the regional at? At
Huntley.
Huntley.
Yeah, at home.
Okay, so but that's where the conference kind of splits.
Right,
So East goes somewhere else.
right.
Uh, I think most everybody else is there, right? Freeport's not there, I don't think.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Freeport and Easter
So
2A.
yeah, either way, everybody kind of splits off. So it's a good time before the postseason for everybody to get together. So
Yeah, it'll be
we'll
fun.
see we'll see everybody there on Saturday. I'll see you there,
Cool.
Tyler. And yeah, good luck with the rest of the week of practice. And yeah,
Awesome.
thanks again.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.